Hi guys, so today I wanted to show you this computer I have set up. Now I'm using it with Mac OS 10, that's on another drive, to render videos in Final Cut, but it's also pretty good for gaming. It is a Dell T5500, Dell Precision T5500. So LGA 1366. So I've outfitted it with a Xeon X5675, 6 cores, 12 threads. But if I open Afterburner, you can see I have a very this is not a high overclock at all for a GTX 1060. So it's a GTX 1060, obviously, because I just said that, and it's a core clock of an extra core clock of 110 and an extra memory overclock of 700 megahertz. Now 700 may sound like a lot, but it's not really. Some people have pushed these chips to like 1,000 even. I'll just get a few games so you can see. Okay, so first off I'm going to show Doom and I'll show you the settings. So you can see it's running the graphics API I'm using is Vulkan, and pretty much everything is high and ultra. So you can see that here, all my settings. And then you can easily read this thing. It's not kept at 60, it just shows that during the menus. But I have a 144 hertz monitor, so I can tell like how it feels probably better than you can in the video, because this video is only 60 hertz. But this is very smooth. You can see it's running here around 120 FPS. It gets higher, a little lower sometimes, but it doesn't really drop below 100. You can see it's running at 140 right here, 130, 120. There were even explosions earlier when I was trying it myself, and there were no issues with that. So I was pretty much just looking at the frame rate counter that whole time and not what was actually going on in the game. But yeah, you can see that it definitely has no issues running Doom at all, and it looks fine on my 144 hertz monitor. Maybe maybe I shouldn't die and actually somewhat pay attention. But you can see there was like explosions and stuff there, and it's still running fine. It's really weird to play games like this because the sensitivity is way different than what I'm used to. So yeah, you can see it dropped a little bit below 100 right there, but nothing really noticeable at all. It's mostly staying consistently. So yeah, Doom, definitely a success with this computer. Okay, so now we have CSGO. You can see the settings are pretty much the highest they can go, which is definitely not necessary for CSGO at all, because if you're playing CSGO at all, or if you're playing CSGO, I don't think you really care about the graphics too much. Now, obviously this is gonna run pretty well. I mean, it's CSGO, but this will be interesting because CSGO obviously is running on Source, which is an older engine, so it doesn't really, in my opinion, utilize like the threads the best that it can, and it's a pretty CPU bound game, but it still works fine on this machine. So you can see like we're hitting like the hundreds, 200 mark, no issues there. And obviously you can turn the settings down because it's CSGO. You can put it on high. Ultra settings aren't necessary really on any games. Ultra settings look almost the same, just with a big performance drop off. So yeah, CSGO definitely, if you have a 144 hertz monitor even, runs perfectly on this computer. So yeah, CSGO, check mark. So now we're in GTA, and you'll probably notice and judge me for the fact that I'm not very long in the story. Very far along in the story. Now, I'll admit I've pretty much only played the online on this game, but I have played the online a lot. And I need to play the single player. So you can see it's running in DirectX 11. Yeah, okay. So pretty much high. Everything's on high and very high. Um, so yeah, there are all my settings, and you could turn them down if you wanted. But I mean, it's not like GTA is like a super competitive shooter or something. So you probably can't read the FPS counter because Steam's is like really small and gray. But it's sitting around 80 to 70 to 80 FPS. Very smooth when driving, still around 80, 90, like 77. Yeah, so pretty much always above 60 FPS on pretty much the highest it'll go. So very, very successful with GTA here. Even driving, I don't know, I'll fight someone. I haven't played this game in a while. Yeah, it's sitting at actually over 100 right now. Down to 90 again. So yeah, this game, another success. GTA is pretty CPU bound as well. Well, I mean, it's not CPU bound, but it does rely on the CPU a lot. So GTA is another success with this computer. Now, this is a game that isn't really, I guess, in many benchmarks, but it's something that I play a lot, and I figured a lot of people played a lot, so it might be useful to include. I have everything on the 7 graphics preset, which I think pretty much looks the same as the highest, but the highest just comes with a like noticeable performance drop. It's still playable on that, but I just think there's, even on my main computer, I keep it on 7 because there's no point in having the performance loss just for it to look pretty much exactly the same. This game obviously was released like quite a while ago. This is running on obviously the official client. It's on the latest version, but it is definitely not the most like, it doesn't use the threads to its best advantage. We're seeing like 140 FPS, 120 FPS. So yeah, obviously it works fine on here. I'm in the Jade Forest at Honeydew Glade. I'm sure if you went to Orgrimmar, it might drop a little, but that's the interesting thing about games like World of Warcraft. Since it has to render like so many different NPCs at once and stuff, it can even get faster like GPUs to not perform so well. And the reason for that, I believe, is because obviously the CPU has to prepare the GPU for what to render. So if there's like hundreds of like players and stuff all around you, obviously the CPU has to prepare the GPU to render all of those. So it can become like a big bottleneck if you have like an area like Orgrimmar, where there's like a bunch of people in one place. The CPU can become a big bottleneck. Now we have Overwatch. I usually don't play Mercy, but I just did it because I didn't want to embarrass myself any more than I already have by failing a bunch because I have the wrong mouse. And I have it set on Ultra. And you can see, well, I don't know if you can read that very well, but it is sitting around like the 150 mark. And obviously on Overwatch, it doesn't really need to be set on Ultra. You're more focused, because like Overwatch already isn't like that demanding, so you can set on Ultra, but it doesn't really need to be. The high is like pretty much looks the same in my opinion. But even on Ultra here, it's running around like 150 to 170 FPS. So yeah, Overwatch easily played on this machine. Okay, so now I'm going to show you Battlefield 1. I haven't really played this game very much because personally I just thought it was pretty repetitive, but that's just my opinion. And I didn't think it was that fun, but here's my field of view settings and everything like that, which is above the default. I think 90 is pretty much what you should be at least if you're going to play games like competitively. I have DirectX 12. I have these custom settings here because in my opinion, these look exactly the same as all Ultra in terms of what you notice when you play the game. On Ultra, it's still playable at this. It's around 70, I believe. But I just wanted to get it to something a little more stable. So right now we're getting about 107, 106, 95. So yeah, Battlefield 1 on here works very well. I think on some of the other maps it does drop sometimes like 70s, but very playable. I'm not good at this game, I barely played it. And yeah, so I just hit a 111, 95, 89, 90. So yeah, another very playable game on this machine. So yeah. Okay, and now what I actually got this machine for was Final Cut, which is what I'm using it for right now as I'm editing this. But you can see that Sierra recognizes the chip as a 6-core Xeon. If I open HTOP, you can see that it recognizes all of the threads. So yeah, works fine in OS 10. And so yeah, I'll get back to editing this.